Greetings and salutations, YouTubers and malefactors. We're back here at Stock Logic Motorsports and we're listening to the dogs have a good old barking fest. They're barking mad, or they're barking happy. I'm not entirely sure. Hard to really tell. So what are we doing today? We're putting on a Tusk fender eliminator kit for a CRF450RL 2022 model. I'm assuming it's the same setup for, well, really the L's and older models as well. Anywho, seems like this is a pretty straightforward process. We have 4 bolts underneath that appear to be 10 millimeters. We have this plastic bracket to take out of the way when we get a chance. Alright, first off I'm going to go ahead and take off the license plate because we're going to be replacing this whole assembly real quick. And something set off the neighborhood doggies. Guys, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't know. Maybe it's a much bigger deal for the little doggies. Yeah, ready. So we got our license plate off. Got our 10 millimeter socket. Oh god, ow. Man, this bike is like taking its pound of blood from me today. I'm gonna wind up looking like a Edward Scissorhands. I'm not too careful. That's smart. So 4 10 millimeter bolts. And watch your fingers because this stock guard is, oh goodness. Might want to get a adapter for this. Whew. Whew. All right. I might get my bigger socket, get a bit more leverage on this. This is actually kind of surprising. And I might need a hex key to peel the license plate light off of here. I'm gonna grab that because that is that's a, ow, mighty hard pull on that. 1 second. Alright, so we got a slightly safer option. We got our little multi-tool here with our hexes. Wait a second. Oh, goodness. I put these things on with a impact wrench, it feels like. Okay, maybe I'm embellishing a smidge. Maybe not an impact wrench, but whew. Definitely going to be re-Loctiting these. So according to the Tusk instructions, you reuse these 2 back bolts here. You reuse the screws on the license plate light, and make sure if you're in Texas that you don't try and rely on your brake light to illuminate your plate. It is against the law here in Texas to do that. You will attract attention from whatever city's finest you happen to be driving through. I'm a firm believer that one does not want to attract unwanted attention to themselves when you're already riding a big red bike that looks like a dirt bike. in my experience, I've already attracted enough attention whenever I'm riding a dual sport. Not so much lately, but there was like man, when I had the 250L, and constantly people were, "Sir, is that a street legal bike?" I'm like, "Do you see the license plate on the back? Come on, man." Okay, how do I peel this little plastic part out? Oh, it's a push pop button deal. So in Honda they have these little tabs with a little button in it. It's like a pop tab. Ow! Ooh, that smarts. And basically when you push it back in, it secures the whole deal. Alright, so I'm gonna need to take off this light here, reuse most of that hardware. I'll pick up my socket later. Let me get some 8. It's an 8mm socket on the back, Phillips head on the front. Make sure you retain all of this hardware. Tusk says there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this, Tusk says. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, I know. Ratcheting wrench from Walmart. It's quite handy at times. I think I'm about to experience the easiest fender eliminator kit that I've ever experienced. Now, praise where praise is due with Honda. This is actually a pretty good looking rear fender assembly. I mean, this is robust, well thought out, clears the tire for the most part. I'm a little afraid with like wider or more severe knobby tires that you might run into a little bit of a contact issue. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing a fender eliminator. And other than, yeah, the looks, I do like the look of a tidied up area. Keep this one and keep this bad boy. We're gonna need that later. Una mochila. For those of you that don't speak Spanish, it's backpack, if memory serves me right. Your kids at some point might have experienced Dora the Explorer. It's good to broaden one's horizons. Donde está una mochila? Where is the backpack? Yeah, you say you haven't learned anything watching these videos. You certainly haven't learned how to work on your bike properly from me. That's for sure. Keep your shoulder bolts. It's kind of an interesting rear fender design. I have a feeling that if I loop this bike, this rear fender is going to be kind of expensive to replace. Just kind of taking a casual observation. Not trying to say anything bad, just that is a lot of hoopla back there. Alrighty, so we have the generously proportioned OEM tail assembly, which kind of, I really like these stock blinkers, I really don't want to change them out. This is really slick looking from Honda. I'm glad they actually put the Primo stuff on their 450RL. Alright, so we're going to remount the license plate light here and basically grab a big old shoulder bolt, and we're going to kind of orient everything. They say make sure not to pinch the cable or anything. Alright. So what I'm doing here is I'm placing these stock bolts back in. Make sure the shoulder bolts in the plastic area. Turn the socket the correct way, because you're not going to screw in a bolt with the square side of a socket. And I'm just not really cinching it down, I'm just kind of getting it all kind of nicely in place. Wish I could slide the rubber part down. It seems like there's a fair amount of guard around here to protect it from any sort of rub. I would probably recommend tying this off up here or something. Let's see what it says. What do the instructions say? Just make sure you don't pinch it. Da, 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 da. This is how I show controls pitch license plate light wiring as you tighten the bracket bolts. Fit notch up in the bracket and pushed up into the fender. Really? Can you push up into the fender? Oh, sweet, sweet nectar. Okay, Honda. I'm gonna have to give you guys a gold star for this idea. Now this, oh, you want like a, oh, you're just like a, I get what you are. Okay, 1 minute. Let me peel you down. Calm down, puppy dogs. Alright, so we have all this spare wire. Look at that. That is fantabulous. And now, if you want to protect the edge of the wire, you can slide this feller back on and just tape around it. And while it's not perfect, it's acceptable. Come on, let's get fit up in that little area. And boom, now you've got a rubber guard against the against this area, so your light wire is a little more protected. I mean, Honda was nice enough to provide this little rubber grommet here. Might as well, you know, make use of it. Alright, anywho, and just to make sure it stays in place, well, oh, this little plastic clip will just kind of chill. I'll have you chill out of the way. Hopefully my slower and more deliberate movements are helping with everyone's nausea because of my tendency to have my mind flit about. Alright, so in this package there are two types of bolts. My hand's all sweaty and hard to get out of the bag. So you have these shorter ones which are meant to mount your license plate bracket, and these longer ones are meant to mount to the bike. Save your shorter ones. This will be important later. This will be on the test. So make sure you saved enough space to slide your shoulder bolts in. It's a little cinched up, it makes it easier to hold it in place. These weren't originally Loctited, so I'm just going to tighten them back down as they were. Put your flange bolts in. Why are we having trouble getting in there? At least it's shady out here now. There we go. Just had to orient this thing correctly. Don't tell me we're off kilter. Well, that's certainly a interesting conundrum. Okay, so the problem I'm experiencing right now, excuse me, is that this last bolt is not in line with the others. So I'm gonna peel out this right here. Peel back these 10 millimeters and see if I can make this fit a little better. Or we're gonna have a deal where this is just misshapen from the factory, which I'm hoping that's not the case. That would be a real bummer. I would have to write a strongly worded email to Tusk's R&D team. Hey guys, your stuff doesn't work. Oh, really? We're going back to the hot sun again. Alright, so note to self, or note to everybody out there in internet land, this bracket's not entirely straight from Tusk. So a little bit of a physical manipulation might be required. Oh, maybe some really strong physical manipulation. Feels like it's starting to cross thread because it's a little bit. Whew, dang, this camera's getting really hot out here. Well, everything's getting really hot out here. Okay, well, note to the people out there in interwebs land. You might have to do a little bit of a vice bending to make this thing fit properly. Or, you know, hold it in place while you tighten down. Looks like I got it just well enough, so it's a snug fit. It's more of a snug than a Magnum. So we managed to make this work. Oh goodness, cinch them up. And grab your 10. Cinch these bad boys up. After a couple of rides, make sure you come back out here and double check the tightness of all this. I'm giving it quite a few ugga-duggas, but one cannot be too careful. Also bear in mind, if you're riding in Texas, technically these little reflectors are required. Whew. All right, little motivation to move quicker. So yeah, these nylock washers, those are for the plate. Same with the nylock nuts, washers, bolts. Anywho, let's get this license plate back on real quick. Our license plate light. That's a really slick design though, other than it being slightly machined in a funky way. This is pretty intelligent. I have to say, this is a praiseworthy product from Tusk. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying all this stuff immediately, because China Tusk bad. I mean, they got a lot of comprehensive stuff that works fairly well. Alright, that light's going nowhere. Just like my childlike sense of wonder. Alright, so I know it says use the supplied bolts, but in Texas, you need to use the supplied reflectors. I'll use the reflectors on the bottom, do a little hole punch on that. It doesn't say they have to be at the top, it just says they have to be on there. I know little dog is miserable hot out here. Had a few minutes of shade, but when nature knew I was coming back out here, it said, let's have an encore of 100-degree heat. After I get done with all this work, take a shower and head over to a friend of the family's. Yeah, I know little hot dogs. Oh, bubble gums are huge. Alright, let me get you guys inside. You guys are smart enough to go in when it's hot. Alright, so maybe the GoPro 10 is not ideal for Texas heat. Oh, we've got this on, we got the bolts, got everything in that sense on. I'm going to just roll the dice and hope that no one cares about my reflectors. Well, in the meantime, have a good one. And before this thing gives up from the heat again. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Let's get out of the heat.